Today we're making this. Hello everyone, this is Hypofair and today we're making a hard techno kick inspired by the artist KAAI. This kick is inspired by KAAI's Brain Damage track. We are not trying to copy or clone another producer, but we're trying to understand what's behind this style so we can take the ideas and build our own version of it. Let's get into it. So we are going to use Serum for this. For the first and main oscillator, I didn't use pure sine wave. I wanted something that's close to a sine wave, but already contains a few harmonics. That gives the distortion something interesting to grab onto later. So right now it sounds like this. Now, I have added two more oscillators. Let's start with oscillator B. As you'll notice, the level on this wavetable is actually 0. We just need it to phase distort our first oscillator. So you can see it here, having the phase distort from B. And the same principle we follow with oscillator C. We still don't have any level on it, but we phase distort our first oscillator with it. Right now, this is just a note. So the first thing we need to do is to enable some pitch automation. We'll do that using our LFOs. Using LFO1, I will enable it, and that's how it sounds right now. LFO2 and LFO3 both do the same job as LFO1. If we check the matrix, we'll see that the polarity of LFO1 and LFO2 is omnidirectional, while the polarity of LFO3 is not. What it sounds like with the three pitch envelopes is this. Sounding more and more like a kick, right? Don't worry about memorizing every LFO. That's not the lesson here. The lesson is that each movement solves one problem. So now, it behaves more like a kick. Let's see what this does. Alright, so this changes the wavetable position of our first oscillator, and you must have noticed that it added some really interesting harmonics while we pushed it up. So what I want to do now is I want to have it play in the beginning. So I'm going to enable the LFO4 that handles the wavetable position of oscillator A, and that's what it sounds like now, without, with. Next up, we have LFO5. It handles the level of oscillator A. This is what it sounds like. Next up, we have the actual warping. This wavetable over here is an actual sine wave. I've set it to an analog bass drum sine wave. I enabled phase distort from C on my oscillator A and listen to what happens. Really nice grit and crunch. And for our second phase distort of oscillator B, I'm gonna go to LFO9 and activate it. So now we get this at the beginning of our punch. So we have an interesting character using the phase distort from oscillator B, and then an interesting tail using the phase distort from oscillator C. Now we have both our phase distortions on, and that's what it sounds like. Alright, I'm gonna turn on noise to have an attack for my kick. And now I will detune my oscillator A from 1 to 5. The main volume should be higher than the unison voices. With the same LFO, LFO9. I'm gonna bypass it and I'm gonna detune this a bit at the beginning of my kick. This will introduce some stereo info. Okay, next step. I enable noise. As you can see, I'm routing it to bus number 1 and not to main, because I'm gonna use bus number 1 to add some stereo image to my kit. Let's go to bus number 1 and see what it does. Bus number 1 is getting a signal from noise, and if you'll notice, I'm also routing my oscillator A at bus number 1 using an LFO, this LFO specifically number 9. Only for the beginning of my punch am I sending a signal to bus 1. More and more sided formation appear. And now I'm gonna make it even more. I add a convolution reverb. And then I add some chorus. Now I'm gonna equalize it because I don't need the bass at all. And I took out this frequency as well. And now I distort. Now our kick has stereo info as well. Alright, now, to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm gonna add some character to the tail by sending some signal to bus 2 and processing it. I do this with LFO 10. So alright, I'm using this LFO just to send signal from oscillator A to bus 2. And in bus 2, I have some processing. Okay, we disabled oscillator A, so now we don't hear oscillator A at all, and we only listen to the part that oscillator A sends to bus 2. So now let's go to bus 2. Let's try enabling the effects one by one. Alright, so first one is a reverb filter. Without. With. Then we distort what comes after the reverb filter. Without the distortion. With. Now we cue what's left. And then we distort again using a soft clip. We took the volume down a bit, as you can see. Another equalizer. Another distortion. And now a utility to handle the sides and also the volume with the LFO. And you know what would be nice here? Maybe we also send this to the side using hyperdimension, turn the rate down. Okay, I like this. So we got our side information and we got our tail character. So now, without any processing, our kick sounds like this. Alright, now let's do some processing. First up is a convolution reverb to enhance the harmonic content of our sound. I also added an LFO to the mix just to control when it goes in without the convolution reverb. With. You see it added some info on the side. Now I distort. Using diode 1, I like the harmonics that it introduces. Alright, and now we EQ a bit. After that, we distort again using a zero square distortion. I added this LFO to the mix of the distortion just to control where this distortion hits while the kick plays. I didn't want it to hit at the beginning of the kick, but I wanted it to hit afterwards, right after the punch. So it sounds like this. After this, I have an equalizer to push up the bass a bit. And also, I added this automation gain using LFO 7 on this EQ, around 1200 Hz, just to help with the initial attack. Then it's another distortion, a diode 2 this time. The drive is all the way up, but I've taken the mix down a bit, as you can see. Following up is an equalizer handling the low mids. And then it's a compressor. It's a multiband compressor. The threshold is all the way down, and I've pushed the below up a bit. It sounds like this. Then it's an equalizer handling the low mids again. Adding this small attack around 2300 Hz using LFO4. And last but not least is our soft clip distortion. Alright, and that's what we're getting out of Serum. Serum got our kick to around 90%. Now we need to process it a bit more to finalize it. So we're starting with an EQ. After that, it's a newfangled saturate. You can use G-clip for this. I like how it sounds, so I'm using this. I want soft clip, a push around 2 dB. And with this, it sounds like. Okay, next up is the reverb. I'm using, again, 4% of reverb, not much, just to give it a bit of space. It sounds like this. Now I'm gonna use a Pro Q3 in linear phase. Again, a side slow cut around 160, 170, just so it makes the low end or the sub bass centered and in the middle. It sounds like this. Then it's a transient shaper to bring back any dynamics that we might have lost by pushing it so hard on the clipper. We push the attack, a little bit of bump, and the sustain, turn it a bit down. Now it's our final clipper, a hard clip to 0, just so it doesn't go above that. And our kick sounds like this. Well, it has this annoying thing, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna resample our sound from Serum. You see that annoying tail that the distortion created, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Like this. Now I'm getting this sound into the channel that we put the processing on, and let's hear it. I feel like I want to take the side down a bit, and I'm gonna do that using a utility tool from Ableton. I like this. Maybe we can push it. Okay, I like this. So what's left to do is to resample this. Let's resample this. Alright, my favorite part of the video. It's time to check our kick in context. I made a loop using samples from our Heavy Machinery sample pack, link in the description. There's also a free version, be sure to check it out. So let's see what we came up with. That was a finished kick. Again, this wasn't about recreating or copying KAAI's brain damage one-to-one. It was about understanding the techniques that create this kind of movement and energy. And once you understand those techniques, you can swap the wavetables, change the modulation, push the distortion in a different direction, and end up with something that's completely your own. If you just want ready-to-use samples, then you can grab our Heavy Machinery sample pack, link in the description. There is also a free version out there, so give it a try. If you decided to follow along and make a kick like this on your own, please join our Discord and post your kick. I'm really curious to see what you came up with. Link also in the description. If you enjoyed this one or learned something, leave a like and subscribe. There are more videos like this coming in the future. And if you're new here, let me know what you want me to break down next. That's all from me. This was Hypofair from Noise Factory. Thank you all so much for watching. And now, go make some noise.